She stood there, leaning against the counter like we were debating where to go for a weekend getaway. "You've got two options," she said, arms folded, chin raised like she was reading off a script. Her voice was calm, polished, like she thought her poise would somehow sell me on what was coming next. "You can either accept that I want to see where things go with him, or just don't get in the way." I stared at her, waiting for the part where she said she was kidding. When it didn't come, I let out a quiet laugh, not because it was funny, but because it was insane. This didn't sound like my wife. Not the woman I came home to for 10 years. "Run that by me again?" I asked. She let out this patient little sigh, like I was the one being unreasonable. "I don't want this to become an argument," she said, like some therapist trying to control a session. "I'm being upfront. I'm not sneaking behind your back. I'm giving you the chance to grow with me." That's when I realized this wasn't spontaneous. She'd rehearsed this. Maybe in front of a mirror. Maybe with someone coaching her through it. That line, "grow with me," was too clean. Too rehearsed. She kept talking, her voice calm, like she was reading a bedtime story. Her hands moved slowly, controlled, like she'd practiced even that. "People our age are starting to rethink what marriage looks like," she said. "Monogamy? It's not always natural. You know that, right?" I didn't say anything. Just leaned back in the chair and listened. She was deep into this now, quoting podcasts, referencing books she probably never told me she was reading. She framed it like some enlightened evolution, like cheating wasn't betrayal, just expansion. That word stuck. Expansion. Like this was a startup pitch, not a marriage imploding. Still, I didn't speak. Not because I didn't have thoughts. I had too many. But none of them would come out sounding the way she wanted them to. "This isn't just physical," she said softly. "It's emotional. Intellectual. He sees me in a way she stopped herself. "I'm not trying to insult you. But I've changed. I've grown. And I can't shrink just to fit back into what we used to be." He. She still hadn't said his name, but I didn't need her to. I knew exactly who it was. Her boss. John'll. Mid-40s. Founder of some trendy startup with concrete floors and kombucha on tap. The type who wore wool sneakers and talked about mindfulness at staff meetings. I'd met him once at some product launch. The way he shook my hand, I could tell he thought I was just background noise. "He makes me feel alive," she whispered. That's when I understood this wasn't a moment of weakness. This wasn't some mistake. This was a well-practiced fantasy she'd been building brick by brick. She'd cast herself as the trailblazer, and I was just the relic she'd outgrown. But I didn't yell. Didn't storm out. Didn't break anything. I stood up, walked out of the kitchen, down the hallway, and locked myself in the bathroom. I stared into the mirror. I didn't see a broken man. I didn't even see pain. What I saw was clarity, sharp, cold, and undeniable. She thought this was her negotiation. She had no idea the decision had already been made. That night, she came to bed like we'd just sorted out what color to repaint the guest room. She even reached for my hand out of habit, maybe? I let her. She needed to believe she still had control. That I was too passive, too frozen to do anything but sit in it. She was wrong. About everything. Over the next few days, she treated me like some outdated app she was trying to update. Sent me articles. Recommended relationship podcasts. Like I needed to be reprogrammed. But I was already moving in silence. She kept bringing up these open marriage success stories like they were bedtime fables for grown-ups. "If you really love me," she'd say, "you'll grow with me. This isn't a loss, it's an upgrade. For both of us." I'd nod. Smile at the right moments. Repeat things like, "I'll think about it," so often it became a reflex. Meanwhile, I was paying attention. Not just to her, but to the way she stopped pretending. That was the giveaway. She wasn't lying. Not anymore. There were no hushed phone calls or late returns from work dinners. She did everything in daylight. Because to her, none of it was wrong. She was free now. Evolved. Enlightened. She didn't see it as cheating, it was expansion. Reinvention. I was just the antique coffee table she hadn't gotten around to tossing out. But she would. Eventually. So I got to work. Quietly. While she believed I was on board, conflicted, maybe, but warming up to the idea, I started building my own option. Option 3. The more I played along, the more convinced she became. She stopped filtering her words. Started saying his name casually. Mentioning ideas, trips, vague growth experiences like we were business partners co-drafting a vision board. I didn't argue. I played the role, curious, open, evolving. I nodded through her podcast links, pretended to take notes while she explained the death of monogamy. Even tossed in a few staged sighs to make it feel like I was wrestling with new, liberating ideas. What I was actually doing was installing a discreet syncing app on her phone while she was in the shower. No spyware, nothing shady. Just a quiet mirror of her texts, calendar, and cloud notes. A silent feed of the life she thought she was living in secret. Let me be clear, it wasn't about jealousy. Not entirely. I needed the real story. Not the filtered, Instagram-worthy, we're evolving version. I needed the uncut footage. And when I got it, it hit different. Jonah, her boss, had her saved in his phone as Wife 2.0. She had him labeled as becoming. That alone could have ended it. But I wasn't after rage. I was after understanding. Their texts were full of faux deep takes on freedom and love and some new age nonsense about co-creating joy. But underneath all the pseudo-spiritual fluff, they were giddy. Like teenagers skipping school and getting away with it. You good for the weekend? He wrote. Yep. Told him I need solo time for a retreat. He actually said he gets it. Can you believe that? I checked her calendar. One entry, RKM guest house, temporary stay until things shift. That was it. That's when it clicked. She wasn't just playing around. She was dry running a whole new life. No confrontation. No lawyers. Just slowly fading into his world, like trying on a new outfit, keeping the tag on in case she changed her mind. And then came the move. It was a Thursday. We were sitting on the couch when she casually dropped it. Jonah's pulling a few of us for a strategy offsite. Kind of a team retreat. Immersive stuff. You know how these startups get all in and sometimes hands off. She winked. I chuckled. Sounds cool, I said. You want help packing? She hesitated. Just a second. Then smiled. Actually, yeah. That'd be sweet. So I helped. Watched her fold outfits she called casual but knew exactly what they were for. She picked her signature perfume, the one she used to save for anniversaries. She looked at me waiting for something, anger, sarcasm, anything. But I just smiled. You're gonna crush it, I said. Show em what transformation really looks like. She kissed me on the cheek. That means a lot. I think in that moment she really believed I was proud of her. After she left, I opened my laptop. Everything was saved. The messages. The hotel booking. Even a few audio clips from our smart assistant when she thought I was out. And in one of them, clear as day, I heard another voice. Not Jonah's. Jamie. Her best friend. At first, I thought Jamie was just her emotional spotter, helping script the narrative, coach her through the mental gymnastics. But listening to that recording, the tone of their voices, the way they laughed, it was obvious. You sure he bought it? Jamie asked. Totally, my wife said. God, I feel like I'm finally alive. Like I'm burning in the best way. You are, girl. Jonah's obsessed with you. Oh, I know. You'd know too, right? Then they both laughed. That's when the pieces locked in. Jamie wasn't just coaching. She was part of it. Sleeping with the same man. Jonah wasn't a lover, he was running a philosophy club with benefits. Loyalty was optional. Intimacy was communal. This wasn't infidelity. It was infrastructure. But I didn't scream. Didn't cry. Didn't fall apart. I opened a new folder, backed up every clip, every log, every calendar note. Organized it by name and timestamp. Then I wrote a short, carefully worded message. Not to her. Not to Jamie. To someone else. Jonah's wife. I didn't attach anything. Just introduced myself, pointed to a few suspiciously overlapping weekends, and said I had information she might want to know. Then I hit send. Closed my laptop. And went to bed. I slept better than I had in months. Because now I had leverage. By Friday morning, I noticed her side of the closet had changed. Not empty, just cleaner. Curated. She'd taken the pieces that mattered, left the rest like an afterthought. The way people clean out their desk when they're not sure if they're coming back. She even left a note on the bathroom mirror. Just a post-it. Gone for a few days. Don't wait up. Don't stress. I love you just differently now. There it was again. Her signature move, sabotage disguised as serenity. Carefully worded enough to duck accountability. It wasn't cheating, just freedom. Not desertion, just transition. But what she didn't know was that I had stopped playing safety net. She thought she was balancing between two choices. She didn't realize there was already a third. It started quiet. Not legal. Not loud. Just practical. I pulled out 3 moving boxes and labeled them closet, desk, books. I didn't pack to punish, I packed to clarify. I folded her clothes neatly. Stacked her favorite reads. Washed her favorite mug. Took the wedding photos off the wall and stored them gently in a folder. Nothing damaged. Nothing missing. Just moved. Enough for her to feel at the moment she walked back in. That deep in the ribs vibration that tells you something ended. And you're the last to know. Then I called a realtor. Just a quiet consultation. No threats. No declarations. Just enough to signal that the foundation she believed was still under her feet had already shifted. Later that night, Jonah's wife wrote back. Her response was short, chillingly calm. Thank you for this. You're not the first. You won't be the last. But you might be the last to stay silent. We spoke for 15 minutes. No crying. No anger. Just two people cross-referencing timelines and lies. Like we were balancing spreadsheets instead of broken vows. She'd been tracking him for years. Had patterns, receipts, but never names. I gave her 2. 3 if you count Jamie. Near the end, she asked me just one thing. Do you still want to save it? I paused. No, I said. I want her to watch the fire she lit from the outside. She didn't answer. Just said she had what she needed and hung up. Back at home, I kept my silence. No cryptic posts. No venting to friends. I just watched the minutes tick by. Tracked her messages. She texted once. I hope you're using this time to reflect. Let go of the old model. She didn't realize I already had. She wasn't coming home to the man she'd left. She was walking back into the quiet aftermath of her own story. And her little awakening with Jonah? It wasn't just a thrill anymore. It was a map. A paper trail of choices. The best part? She didn't see it coming. Not because I was clever, but because she never believed I could be. She thought taking my trust meant taking my spine. What she really took was my silence. And silence, it's funny. People mistake it for surrender. But in the right hands, silence is just calm before precision. The night before she was due back, I poured myself a drink and stood at the window. I stood by the window watching the neighborhood dim with the sunset. Garage doors closing. Porch lights flicking on. The quiet settling in. And I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter or wrecked or jealous. I felt clear. For the first time in a long time, I knew exactly what needed to happen and what I didn't need to carry anymore. The charade was finished. The version of me she thought she'd left behind didn't live here anymore. All that was left now was to let her walk back in, let her step into the quiet wreckage she created, still thinking she held the keys to it. Let her see the pictures gone from the walls. Let her see the boxes lined up neatly by the stairs. Let her see the way my shoulders didn't slump anymore. The way my eyes didn't ask questions. Let her see the new rules she didn't write. Let her try to negotiate when the contract had already been torn up and replaced. She came in just after 8, rolling her suitcase behind her, wearing that oversized cardigan she always wore on retreats. Hair done up like she was returning from a photo shoot, not a dismantled marriage. She moved like someone selling peace, like the calm was real. I heard the front door but didn't move. I wanted the house to speak to her first. Let her notice the missing pieces. Let her feel the hollow space where our life used to sit. Babe, she called out, voice still soft, still casual. Like we were speaking in a different language now. One where none of it had happened. Where we just needed a weekend to recalibrate. When I walked downstairs, she gave me a smile. Half-formed. It never reached her eyes. I'm home, she said. I looked at her for a beat. Then, no. You're visiting. She blinked. What? I gestured toward the hallway. Everything's labeled. If anything's missing, let me know. I kept the good heels and your second chance, journal separate, figured you'd want those wherever you expand next. Her face changed. Not anger. Not shame. Confusion. You're serious, she said. Dead serious. But you said you were processing. I said. Now I'm done. She crossed her arms, same move she used in the kitchen the night she told me. Same stance, same tone, trying to regain the upper hand with posture. Didn't work this time. Eric, she said, stepping forward, voice dipping like I was a child she was trying to soothe. I thought we were working through this. I thought you understood what I needed. I stepped back. You don't get to repackage this as a shared journey. You left to sleep with your boss and called it evolution. You lied about the trip, who it was with, how long you'd be gone. That's not growth. That's a rebrand for betrayal. Her jaw clenched. I didn't lie. You called it a retreat. A work project. A team-building exercise. I watched you pack perfume and lingerie for a creative strategy session. She hesitated. Okay, maybe I didn't tell you everything, but I didn't cheat. You said you were open, I snapped. I never said I was. I was silent. That's not the same thing. Her voice rose. You could have said something. I didn't have to, I said. You already knew. You just didn't care. That hit harder than I thought it would. She looked away. Eyes blinking fast. Breathing short and shallow like someone trying to hold in water that's already rising. I didn't want to hurt you, she whispered. But you did. Over and over. And not just with him. She froze. That surprise you? I asked. You really think you were the only one expanding? I used to think Jamie was just coaching her, helping her dress the betrayal in prettier language. But the more I listened, the clearer it got. You think he suspects? Jamie asked. I don't think he wants to, my wife answered, laughing. Jonah says he likes that Eric's so domesticated. He won't push back. Her eyes widened when I repeated it back to her. You listened to all of it? She asked. Every word, I said. Every smug, self-congratulatory word. Including the part where your enlightened little guru called me housebroken. She paled. Finally, something cracked through her curated calm. And the best part? I added. You weren't even special. Just one of his little spiritual partners. Guess who else was keeping him company? She stayed silent. Jamie, I said. That broke her. She stepped back. No. She wouldn't. She told me, She told you what she needed to so you'd stay useful, I cut in. Same way you told me. She sank down onto the couch like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. Hands trembling. Eric. I don't. You don't get to explain, I said flatly. You made your choices. Now you live with the consequences. And the boxes. Tears welled up. Can we talk about this tomorrow? Just not like this. Pretty sure Jonah's wife already started that conversation, I said. Her head snapped up. What? She knows. Everything. You're not the first. But maybe you'll be the last one to surprise her. She blinked, lips trembling. You told her. I didn't tell her, I said. I showed her. Silence. Not the peaceful kind, this was hollow, stunned silence. I let it hang there, then walked over to the door and opened it wide. You wanted options, I said. Well, here's one more. She didn't reach for me. Didn't protest. Just sat there, eyes glassy, mouth slightly open. She left that night. Took what she could carry. The rest stayed boxed in the guest room, untouched. The house didn't feel empty without her, it felt honest. And that was new. A week later, her sister reached out. Said her parents wanted to talk. Civil tone. Too civil. I almost ignored it. But something in me said, go. Not for them, for me. Their house was one of those suburban symmetry traps, identical mailboxes, obsessively trimmed lawns. The kind of neighborhood that polishes the outside while everything inside slowly rots. They were all there. Her mom. Her dad. Her sister. And of course, her. She looked smaller now. Not destroyed. Just stripped. Like she'd lost the armor but still hadn't found a soul. Her father started. We just want to understand. From what we've heard, you blindsided her. Kicked her out without even talking. Her mother nodded. Marriage takes work. You don't just shred the contract when things get tough. Then her sister chimed in. That soft, sharp tone people use when they want to sound nice while blaming you. You were always kind of traditional, Eric. Maybe if you'd listened more, supported her growth, it wouldn't have escalated. I didn't argue. I just pulled out my phone. Didn't play recordings. Didn't show videos. Just opened a folder full of quiet truths. Photos. One of her at the door, suitcase in one hand, texting Jonah with a grin. One of her calendar, RKM guest house, highlighted in blue. One of her post-it note, I love you. Just differently now. Then I read aloud a message she sent to Jamie. He's either too weak to stop me or too loyal to leave. Either way, this is freedom. I set the phone down. She wasn't blindsided, I said. She planned this. Week after week. While still sleeping in my bed. Her father cleared his throat. People make mistakes, eh? She didn't trip and fall into Jonah's bed, I cut in. She packed for it. Budgeted for it. Recruited help. She didn't ask for understanding, she asked for permission to humiliate me in style. Then I leaned forward. And the only reason she regrets it now is because her shiny little backup plan? Turns out he was using her the same way she used me. The room fell silent. Her mother folded her arms. So you're done then? I looked at my wife. She didn't speak. Just stared at the carpet. Tears in her eyes, but none falling. Yes, I said. I'm done being the villain in a story I didn't write. I'm done carrying the emotional weight while everyone else explores who they really are. I stood up. You wanted understanding. Now you have it. I turned toward the door. As I reached it, her sister called after me. Eric, you really loved her, didn't you? I paused. Hand on the knob. I did, I said. But she made me choose to share her or watch her walk away. I looked back one last time. So I chose option 3. I let her go. Then I got ready to rearrange his little kingdom of lies. And with that I walked out. Not just from the room. From the whole damn story.